If you guys want the best settings for Fortnite Chapter 4, then you've made it to the right place. These settings will guarantee max FPS along with zero input delay. Before we start, don't forget to pop in code Fierce Gaming in the item shop. Now, to start it off, you're going to want to head to your video settings and set your window mode to full screen, since you want your game to fill in all the space that your monitor holds. Then, for the resolution, you can either set it to 1920 by 1080 or play on a stretch res that will maximize your FPS. If I were you, I'd definitely test this out to see which resolution fits your gameplay. Next, you're going to want to turn VSync off, since you may experience some input lag if you have it on. Your frame rate limit depends on what type of monitor you're playing on. So for example, if I have a 144 Hz monitor, I would have my frame rate limit set on 144 FPS. Your rendering mode could be based on preference, but I would recommend performance mode if you want to see more FPS. Your brightness should be on 100, and in Chapter 4, there really isn't too much of a need for colorblind mode since the map already has a lot of color to it. For the graphics quality, it should be already set on performance mode so you can maximize your FPS by using lower settings. Also, you're going to want to make sure that your 3D resolution is at 100%. For the nanite virtualized geometry setting, I wouldn't recommend turning it on since it may affect your gameplay and give you some delay along with lower FPS. Not only that, but unless you have a DX12 enabled, you cannot use this setting. For view distance, you should have it set to medium, textures should be on low, and both of the high resolution texture settings should be turned off. For additional frames, you want to make sure that your meshes are also turned off. Now, you could use the DX11 setting instead of performance mode, but it may lower your FPS if you don't play on the performance mode. Moving to the settings tab, everybody's server that you should be playing on should be the exact region that you live in. For example, if you use Brazilian servers, you should be from Brazil. This will allow for additional FPS and no input delay. Next, move on to the game UI tab and look for the reticle and damage feedback settings. If you don't already know what a reticle is, it's basically the marking in the center of your screen that allows you to accurately aim at your opponents. So, your reticle settings should of course be on. Your reticle ammo indicator can be based off of preference, but it actually does allow you to see how much ammo is in your mag. For example, during a fight, I can switch between my weapons and see how much ammo is in each of those different weapons. I would definitely have this setting on since it does save you some time from looking down onto the bottom left part of your screen where the weapons are displayed. For the damage number setting, my recommendation for you guys is to have it set on cumulative instead of the list option. Now, the difference between these two settings is that the cumulative settings basically adds up all of your damage when shooting at a player as opposed to just listing the damage. Back in old Fortnite, the list option was the only damage number setting, but it has become less useful since you aren't always aware of how much damage you have dealt to a player. With cumulative, it just seems easier for me, but again, this setting is based on your own opinion. The last setting in this reticle section is the reticle damage feedback, which allows you to see a different crosshair appearance. The first option is that it gives you the hit and icon setting, which is absolutely, in my opinion, outrageous since it literally puts useless pop-ups on your screen when you're in a battle. The second is the one I use called Hit Only, which still shows you the same setting as last time without the crazy pop-ups. And in the last setting, you could choose to toggle it off, which won't really matter too much, but I prefer having the setting turned on since it will show you a bigger crosshair. For the HUD options below, you're going to want to keep all of the settings turned on except for map and backpack keys, latency debug stats, quest progress, and creative runtime and performance stats. Now, all these settings just take away from the clear quality gameplay that we want to be seeing since they block parts of the screen. Also, if you haven't already, you need to make sure that your HUD isn't too big so that your screen isn't being blocked. I would turn the scale down to about 80 since you want to be able to see the weapons in the minimap clearly, but not have them block your screen at the same time. Lastly, you should head over to the audio tab and scroll down to the sound quality option. Now, Epic actually notifies you guys that having this setting on high may actually decrease your performance, so definitely be aware of that. It's mostly based on preference as to whether or not you want the additional FPS at the cost of not having the greatest sound quality. Head over to the Visualize Sound Effects tab as well, and be sure to toggle on that setting since it is extremely useful for eliminating your opponents. That's about it for the video. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to use code Fierce Gaming and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.